May the odds be ever in your favor. Hello everyone and welcome back to Unscripted, and this week we are talking about how Hunger Games was made. Everyone's favorite dystopian novel and movie. I'm not going to do a lot of talking today because I had an art class. The Hunger Games is based off the novel Hunger Games by Suzanne Collins. It is directed by Gary Ross. The screenplay was written by Gary Ross, Suzanne Collins, and Billy Ray. The production executive was Michael Paskornik. Producers were John Killick and Nina Jacobson. Co-producers Dana Alvarez, Martin Cohen, Louis Phillips, Aldrich Porter, and Brian Unclis. Executive producers were Robin Bizzle, Suzanne Collins, and Luis Rosner. And the co-executive producer was Chantel Fegali. This is a book-to-film adaptation. Suzanne Collins did help write the film, so the film is fairly accurate to the book. Cam has some details on the differences and similarities between the book and the movie. I'm gonna finish what's written here because it has nothing to do with what's written there.
Well, do you want to do the summary of the story as well before I get into the differences?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
When adapting a book to a film, it's normal to have to cut some things out of the film, but even with the cuts in this movie, I would consider this a very accurate and a very good book to film adaptation. Mm-hmm. Definitely one of my favorites. I think some of the best book to film adaptations include the first Hunger Games and the first two Harry Potter books. Which will give you a short summary of the Hunger Games. The Hunger Games takes place in what was once North America. The capital of Panem maintains an iron grip on 12 districts after a war between the capital and the districts, by forcing each district to select a boy and a girl to be tributes in a nationally televised event known as the Hunger Games. I'm also going to note that there were originally 13 districts. That comes into play later in the series. Mm-hmm. Every citizen in Panem must watch as the young tributes fight to the death until one tribute remains. District 12 tribute Katniss Everdeen has little hope and not much to rely on other than her hunting skills and instincts in the arena, where she must choose between survival and love. In the end, she kind of manages to choose both, and unknowingly starts an uprising. I now hand the stage to you for book-to-film adaptation differences and similarities and whatnot, but I do have a little bit more.
Yeah, so, as we already said, the book-to-movie is one of the better, book-to-movie adaptations. Whenever I was researching this, to even find differences, it was very hard to find the differences between the book because it is almost exactly alike.
I think in order to find the differences between the book and the movie, you would have to read the book and then watch the movie.
Yeah. A few of the differences I did end up finding were, again, very basic things. They weren't anything too crazy. In the book, it is a very much, first-person point of view from Katniss's view. We see a lot of Katniss's storyline. And we really have a hard time seeing the other story, other people's stories that we do in the movie, which is the difference in the movie is we see a lot of more stuff. So we see, a ton of the game makers and a lot of the storyline with Snow and that kind of stuff. That is hard to kind of portray in the book whenever the book is made from a first-person point of view of Katniss.
Mm-hmm. And I'm sure Suzanne Collins had a big role to play in that because it's kind of like an extension of her book.
Yes, it is. In the book, the Katniss character is a lot tougher and slower to start trusting people, whereas the Katniss in the movie she's still a very tough character, but she's a little softer, and the word that they used was likable. That was kind of a difference, is she became more likable for the character, because honestly, if they kept how hard-headed and how tough Katniss was from the book, it probably wouldn't have done as well, because they wouldn't have been able to fall in love with Katniss.
It would have been a longer movie.
It also would have been a longer movie, yes.
They had to do that. I feel like that was something they had to do to the character, which was, it's a positive change from book to film. It's a positive character change. But I feel like that's something they had to do. Otherwise, it would have been a much longer movie. They
Yeah.
probably would have had to split it into like they did the last one. And with the first book, that's not something you should ever have to do.
No.
Is split it into two. I feel like that's just a bad move. It wouldn't have been the same movie. It would have been a completely different character. I feel like it was necessary in order to make the film only be that 2 hours that it is.
Exactly. Yeah. No, it was a great move on their part for doing that. The next one was that in the book, Katniss is very straightforward about her feelings for Peeta. Like, she knows she doesn't like him. She knows Peeta has these feelings for her, and she kind of like manipulates his feelings for her, like to help advantage her and stuff. Whereas in the movie, we see that she's a little more torn for Peeta. Like, she has torn feelings for him. And so she doesn't really manipulate him in the movies as much as she did in the book.
Well, again, it's getting to that point faster.
Yes, exactly.
Because she does get to that point in the book as well.
Yes.
It's just the movie pushes her to get there faster than she does in the book so that they can push the story forward and fit it into the time frame that they have.
Mm-hmm. Next was in the book, Katniss didn't really realize the effect of the funeral she threw for Rue during the actual Hunger Games. The effect it had like on the districts and on the capital. Not really until after she came out of the games. Whereas in the movie, she kind of found out about it during the games because District 11 did send her like some stuff to help her with the games. So that was just the next difference.
That was something I remember that was something I wanted to see in the film.
Yes.
Was District 11 showing her their appreciation for giving Rue what could be seen as a proper funeral, like as best you can get in the arena with what she had and it being in the games. It's as close to a proper funeral as Rue could get. I feel like the gifts from 11 could have been something that they could have just briefly fit into the film because it was just like bread and stuff, wasn't it?
I think
I know for sure there was bread.
I think maybe it was just bread.
It might have just been bread.
Who sent the soup? Was that the capital?
Haymitch.
It was Haymitch.
Yeah, it was Haymitch. But I feel like I feel like that's important to show, because I feel like that's kind of the real start of the uprising, where we know that the districts aren't happy, but that act from 11 shows we're fed up.
Yes.
Of that act of sending her provisions is we're aligning ourselves with the other districts now
to try to do something about this.
It's important to show it's very small, which is most likely why it was cut out because it's just so small, but it's also so big at the same time.
Yeah,
I understand why it was cut out, but I was hoping that I would see that because it shows such a big message, and in the movie you only see that in the end.
Yeah. Right. For the final difference that I got, this one I don't think was as big a deal, but the hounds that are released, in the book they get released only when it's Katniss, Peeta, and
Cato.
No, Cato is in the movie. Cato wasn't in.
Cato made it to the end in both.
I know, but the hounds didn't get released until after Katniss and Peeta. It was only Katniss and Peeta.
No, the hounds killed Cato in both.
Oh, then it told me wrong.
Yeah, the hounds killed Cato in both. Okay. She uses the arrow to put him out of his misery.
Then that one doesn't count because that one was it. Oh, it was also Peeta got bit in the leg.
Mm-hmm. The hounds bit him when he was climbing up the cornucopia.
Yeah, I didn't know that. They tried to bite him. He didn't actually get bit in the movie though.
No, I don't think so. I'm pretty sure he also ends up with a prosthetic in the book series.
Yes, in the series, Peeta was supposed to end up with a prosthetic because he got his leg bit by the hounds.
And he also had that sword wound,
and he also had
which was ultimately healed in the end, but because the hounds got to his leg, it was no good by the time he got out of the arena.
Exactly. And so I guess that is the final difference was Peeta was supposed to get a prosthetic at the end of the movie. He got a prosthetic at the end of the book, but he didn't in the movie. But that's all. I think that's all. Yeah, that's all the differences that I got.
I have some stuff on the script, and I have the cast list. I'm going to talk about the script.
Talk about the script.
Okay. Suzanne Collins wrote the first draft of the Hunger Games herself, and she said that Lionsgate, they acquired the rights to the books. She said that Lionsgate had established a dialogue with her and that made her feel like her input was welcomed and valuable to the process. After Collins' first draft, Billy Ray began rewrites with her, and it wasn't long before the director Gary Ross stepped in and started rewrites with Collins instead of Ray because he wanted to preserve the essence of the book. And the final product was one that Ross, Collins, and Lionsgate were all happy with and agreed was what would be pushed through to be used. That's what I have on that. I'll just get into the cast list and then you can do like stories and who was in the running, because I know you have a lot of people who were in the running for it.
I also have literally a ton of stuff about like where they filmed, like the locations.
That's good. That can go after casting.
Yeah.
All right, cast list. Jennifer Lawrence as Katniss Everdeen.
Who would have guessed?
Josh Hutcherson as Peeta Mellark. Liam Hemsworth as Gale Hawthorne. I'm gonna be so real with you. I almost said Gale Hemsworth. Willow Shields as Primrose Everdeen. Stanley Tucci as Caesar Flickerman. Wes Bentley as Senka Crane. Elizabeth Banks as Effie Trinket. Sandra Lafferty as the hub vendor, the one that gives her the pin.
Yeah.
That's why I wrote her down. Because she got the pin.
Yes.
I feel like that was important.
I feel like that's important as well.
Paula Malcolmson as Katniss's mom. Woody Harrelson as Haymitch Abernathy. Kimiko Gelman as Venya. One of I don't remember her name, and I can't read my own handwriting right there. She's one of Katniss's stylists, which is why I wrote the next three down.
Yes.
I don't remember. I can't read my own handwriting, and I don't know if it says Venya or not. Nelson Asensio as Flavius. Brooke Bundy as Octavia. Lenny Kravitz as Cinna. Amanda Stanberg as Rue. Deo Okenye as Thresh. Levin Rambin as Glimmer. Jack Quaid as Marble. Latarsha Rose as Portia. Portia, I think, was one of Peeta's stylists, or like she was like Peeta's Cinna. Donald Sutherland as President Snow. Alexander Ludwig as Cato. Isabel Furman as Clove. And Jacqueline Emerson as Foxface. A lot of these names were not well known in Hollywood before they were cast. In this, they cast a lot of unknown people, and this was a lot of, like, they'd never been in a movie before. Like, this was their first time. They'd never done TV. They'd never done movie. They cast a lot of unknown actors.
Which I think is a little bit better, because then it's not like a lot of very popular faces that everyone knows on screen. It's people who look like they're real people, but who like you don't know them, so they actually like register as real people in your brain and not just as some celebrity just doing a movie. So I think the fact that they did that was fantastic, and I think it was amazing casting, because honestly everyone did amazing. Would you like me to go over
I would love to hear who almost got cast in this movie, and while you do that, I'm going to eat more of my ice cream.
As you should. Okay, so I have a couple of people, and I also, just in case you don't recognize their names, I did write down movies that I knew, or that like I knew was popular, and like who they played in it, so you can recognize who it was. One of the first people that was almost casted for Katniss was Sarah Rose Ronan. They are in Lady Bird and Little Woman. In Lady Bird, they played Lady Bird, and in Little Woman, they played Jo March. Haley Steinfeld, which was...
Really?
Oh, Steinfeld?
Steinfeld?
I can't read my handwriting either. Hawkeye, who played Kate. Zoe Dutt.
Wait, Haley Steinfeld was really... She was almost who?
Katniss.
She was almost Katniss?
She was almost Katniss, apparently.
Personal opinion, I don't think she could have done it.
No, and that's why she didn't cast.
Mm-hmm.
I actually have a quote about Zoe and why she did, not a quote, but like something that was said from Zoe about why she knew she didn't get this part. She said she knew she didn't get it because whenever she was reading, they said to her, "Why don't you read this other part?" Zoe is in Why Him. I didn't get what part she played in it, but she's in Why Him. Shailene Woodley actually also auditioned to be Katniss.
Who's that?
Divergent, the main girl.
That's her name? Oh, I didn't know that was her name.
Shailene Woodley.
She's more of a B than she is a Katniss. Obviously.
She's also in Fault in Our Stars. Emma Roberts. She was in Nerve as V, and We Are the Millers. So that was all the people I got who almost played Katniss. Next, I have Evan Peters almost played PETA.
Evan Peters.
Yeah, he played Jeffrey Dahmer in the Dahmer story.
No way.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, he was almost as PETA. And I honestly...
What does this man look like?
I wouldn't have hated it.
I'm going to see what this man looks like.
Like, he looks... I mean, he looked like Josh Hutcherson.
Evan Peters?
Yeah, Evan Peters.
So, oh my gosh, he looks like Jeffrey Dahmer. Sorry.
Do a side-by-side.
People do this all the time, apparently. Holy balls. Like, what the balls? Look at that.
Exactly.
Like, he's not even in costume. That's scary.
Okay, sorry. To continue, Hunter Parrish also almost got casted as PETA. He is in 17 again as Lucas Till. He is also the boyfriend in Hannah Montana the movie. Wait, sorry. Hunter Parrish was in 17 again, and then Lucas Till was Hannah Montana in the movie. Sorry, I combined them. Hunter Parrish played Stan in 17 again. And I remember watching that movie. I just don't remember who that character is. Next, David Henry almost played Gale. Wizards of Waverly Place. Justin.
No way.
Yeah.
It took me a minute. I thought, David Henry, where do I know that name from?
Yeah. I was like, I have to put that because that's...
Really?
Yeah, he almost got casted as Gale.
I think he could have done it.
I could see it.
I can see
honestly.
it. I think he could have done it.
I think he could have done it.
I do like that they went with Liam Hemsworth, but I think he could have done it.
He could have done it.
Like, if Liam didn't audition.
Drew Roy, which the only thing I could really find him from that people might recognize is he was one of the boyfriends in Hannah Montana and in iCarly. Just one of the passing boyfriends that, like, made a big deal. The next person who almost played Gale was Robbie Amell.
I love Robbie Amell.
I love that man.
I think he could have done it, too.
He could have done it. I have him as Wesley from The Duff, because I love that movie.
Also in, if you've seen DC's Legends of Tomorrow,
yes,
he's in the first season.
Next, I have Kristen Chenoweth. I don't think I said your last name right. I'm so sorry.
Because I know who you're talking about. Kristen Chenoweth. She
almost played Effie. And then I have...
Oh my gosh, she would have been so good.
She plays Maleficent in Descendants. Mm-hmm. The Descendants.
She was the original... I'm pretty sure she was the original Glinda on Broadway. Let me open my Spotify and pull up my Broadway playlist. You wanna be evil like me? Yep, she is the original Glinda the Good in the original Broadway musical Wicked.
Alright, next I have John C. Reilly as Haymitch. He plays Dale Doback in Step Brothers.
I've only seen clips of that.
I haven't seen a lot.
Will Ferrell's in that too, isn't he?
Will Ferrell is in that.
Is he the other guy?
I'm pretty sure he was
like
the other guy.
Like the guy with the curly hair?
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
I don't see it.
I don't see it either.
He couldn't be Haymitch.
And that's why he wasn't.
He couldn't pull it off. He wouldn't be able to. Those are big shoes to fill.
Those are very
big drunk shoes.
Yes, big drunk shoes. The next people I have is Finnick and Joanna. They were not in the first one.
I think you should say it anyways because I'm curious.
I did write it down in case you wanted me to say it.
I want you to say it because I'm really curious and I need to know.
Garrett Hedlund was almost Finnick. He was in Tron as Sam Flynn. Next, Taylor Kitsch also almost played Finnick, and he was in X-Men or the Origins Wolverine as Remy LeBeau. Finally, we have Mia. I'm not going to say this last name right.
I want to see. It looks like Wazowski, but I know it's not.
What if we just say it's not Wazowski?
It's not Wazowski. You should just spell it.
Mia.
Someone will figure it out.
WASIKOWSHA or KA. Sorry. She was almost Joanna. She is in Alice in Wonderland as Alice. Live action.
Okay, I think she could do it.
She could have done it.
I think she could have done it.
Yeah.
She killed a Jabberwocky. I mean, she could fight and win the Hunger Games.
Oh, 100%.
I'm voting for Alice in the next Hunger Games.
Oh, I actually have one more. I have someone for Beatty.
Oh, for Beatty.
Yeah.
I love Beatty.
Are you
Tell
ready?
me more.
Tony Shalhoub. I don't think I said that right either.
Shalhoub.
He was in Men in Black as Jack Jeeves.
I love Men in Black. I need a picture of this man's face though because I can't put a face to the name.
He was.
I know
Agent
who that
Gibbs.
is though. Wait, that's the guy from Monk.
He was also in Spy Kids. But he was almost Beatty. I also have something about casting. To end off the casting, Gary Ross said Jennifer blew the doors off the place. This was what they said about the perfect casting with Jennifer, Josh, and Liam.
Oh, they were perfect.
Josh was pitch perfect, and Gary Ross had no idea Liam wasn't American until I talked to him when the reading was over.
Really?
Yeah. They were all great. These were honestly easy decisions for me. And that is the end of the quote, and I think that's really cool.
Mm-hmm. I do agree. They were, like, practically perfectly cast.
Oh, 100. I believe every single character was perfectly cast.
A cast practically perfect in every way. Excuse the Mary Poppins quote, but I'm being dead serious.
But, like, to go off a little more with casting, I have, like, one thing about the behind the scenes that has to do with casting that I want to say.
Beautiful. Tell me. I want to know.
That all the people, like, so not... like, kind of including Josh, Liam, and Jennifer. Not including those three, but everyone else. So all the other tributes in the game, they had such a close-knit family type of vibe during filming. So they're all very close to each other. They said as soon as they met with one another that...
The three of them?
No.
Or all of the tributes?
All of the tributes,
okay.
except for those
for the three. Oh, that's weird.
Yeah. So, like... Well, they were close with them, but this was what I got. Like, what I gathered is they're just talking about
the other tributes were closer to each other than they were close to the trio.
But they were close to the trio still. But
just not like family close.
Not like family close. They were very family close to each other. And they said, like, as soon as they all met each other, they had an instant connection with one another. Mm-hmm. So I thought that was really cool. And I wanted to share that.
That is really cool.
I have one thing about costuming.
I love costuming.
Which was Judana Makovsky, who created the costumes for the Hunger Games, also created the costume for Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone.
Guys, you have no idea how much I love Harry Potter.
And I thought you would really like that.
I love that movie.
Next, I have stuff about filming. So they were filming in North Carolina from May 23rd to September 10th, 2011.
I think it's really cool that this movie was filmed in the States because a lot of movies and TV shows are filmed in, like, Canada.
Yeah. They were specifically filmed in the towns of Asheville, Barnesville, Black Mountain, Cedar Mountain, Charlotte, Concord, Hildebran, and Shelby. Those are some of the places that they filmed in. The filming money they got was $78 million. That's all they got for filming.
That's still a lot, though.
That's still a lot.
And they made a really, really good movie with it.
So that was one of the main reasons why they filmed in the States, because they couldn't go to a really more exotic place to film.
Well, and North Carolina fits the foresty arena vibe.
But it fit the vibe very well. They did an abandoned town to create backdrop for rural District 12.
That makes so much sense.
And then I have exactly like what scenes was filmed in each town.
I love that.
So Shelby was where they filmed the District 12 reaping ceremony. Asheville was filmed the arena scenes. Concord filmed the Capitol scenes, and then there's some other towns that they also filmed in. So Pecos National Forest was District 12's forest where Katniss and Gale hunt. Rocky Creek surrounds Katniss and Peeta's shelter. Henry River Mill Village serves District 12 in the film, I think the rest of District 12 besides the reaping ceremony.
So that was like the abandoned town they went to?
Yes, that was the abandoned town. Dunn Point State Forest was the backdrop for arena scenes.
So that was the forest.
Yeah.
Is what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
It was the forest. That's where they ran around and
did silly goofy
things in the forest.
Yeah, like killing each other.
Yep, silly goofy things like murdering each other.
Like murder. That's actually all they gave me about filming.
That's really sad.
They really didn't. I really couldn't find much else about. But like, I feel like I just named a ton of towns that they filmed in, and I couldn't exactly figure out pinpoint. Like I know I pinpoint some of the areas, but I didn't pinpoint a lot of the towns that they filmed in, a lot of the places they filmed in, because it would be hard to pinpoint like each exact scene, especially because they probably did a lot of jumping around, but also not at the same time, because again, they only had $78 million to film this film. So now we're going to dive into behind the scenes, because that's literally all I have left, except for
Beautiful.
box office and awards. So, behind the scenes. Like I was already saying, the tributes were really, really close with one another. One thing I didn't say, because I wanted to wait to say this, but they would pull a lot of pranks on each other while filming.
I love that.
So,
did they catch any on camera?
a little. Actually, no, I didn't see any on camera.
That's really unfortunate.
That's really depressing. The actresses of Rue and Foxface were the main culprits of the prank. So they would.
That makes so much sense, though.
They did a lot of the pranks that happened on stage, especially towards the actor who played Marvel.
That makes even more sense.
Yeah.
He just looks like a prank target.
Yes.
Like, look at his face.
Look at his face.
Look at his face. He looks like the target of all the pranks.
I guess this really wasn't behind the scenes, more a little fun fact, but a lot of the actors at the time were only 12, 14, 15 years old. So us seeing like kids in the arena, we were actually seeing kids in the arena.
Yeah, wasn't the girl who played Rue, wasn't she like 12 years old at the time?
Yep.
Like exactly 12.
Yeah. The oldest of them, I don't remember who exactly was the oldest, but it was like the oldest was 21, 22 out of the tributes.
And they all look younger than that.
And they all look younger than that. But we saw like actual kids doing these fight scenes. Like, and they trained. This is another behind the scene thing, but they, like, all of them did training with the fight scenes.
Yeah.
Like,
Jennifer Lawrence was only 20.
Jennifer Lawrence was only 20. And there was other tributes in the movie that were older.
Hey, fun fact. Hold on. Fun fact.
No, go right ahead.
Josh Hutcherson was only 18 years old.
Yes.
Now let's find out how old
Liam
was.
But what I was saying is that a lot of them did their own fight scenes, and they didn't use stunt doubles. For some of the, like, some specific scenes, there were some stunt doubles, but there really weren't a lot. Like, they did a lot of their own fighting scenes, which I thought was really cool, especially for how young a lot of them were.
Liam Hemsworth was 21.
Mm-hmm.
He was one of the oldest. And Liam was first drawn to PETA.
I don't like that.
And then he set his sights on Gale, and he was Gale instead. But he wanted to be PETA at first.
He would not have made a good PETA.
No, he wouldn't have.
While she's looking up other fun facts, I'm going to continue with my behind-the-scenes / fun facts.
All 3 leads had to dye their hair for the movie.
I didn't know that. So, while they were filming in North Carolina, they would go on a lot of, like, group trips. So, they did hiking together, fishing, ziplining, whitewater rafting, exploring the town. So, that kind of helped create their tight-knit family bond that they ended up having.
I have another fun fact. Before choosing, I got this from BuzzFeed.com. So, do I know if it's accurate or not? No, I do not. But it sounds like a fun fact. So, here's your fun fact. Before they chose a color for Katniss's hair, Jennifer tried on 6 brown wigs before filming The Hunger Games, so they could determine the correct shade of brown. She did end up wearing a wig in the Mockingjay films. Oh. We can talk about that later.
So turkeys would keep showing up during filming while in the reaping, so they would, during the arena scenes, so they would have to pretend to be, like, starved and hungry, and then there's just little turkeys flocking around, joining the scenes, and the crew would actually make jokes about how the turkeys were the film's biggest fans, and that the turkeys were so excited for the film to come out. I thought that was really funny. Jennifer would often wait till the last second to get into character. So, like,
that's so real.
So Jennifer would be joking around. There was one story I remember. I didn't write this down, but there was one story I remember hearing whenever I was watching the behind the scenes, where it was during Rue's death. So, like, it was Jennifer and then the actress who plays Rue. Mm-hmm. And, like, Jennifer's supposed to be really sad. And apparently Jennifer looked at the actress who played Rue and said, remind me to tell you about this really funny fart joke. And then the director said action, and then she's just sobbing her eyes out. And I thought that was hilarious.
That's talent.
Yeah.
That's talent. I mean, I wouldn't be able to do that. If I looked at you when you're lying dead on the floor, pretending to be dead, and I looked at you and said, remind me to tell you about this really funny fart joke later, I would not be immediately able to just start sobbing on the spot 2 seconds
I
later.
wouldn't, like, if I was Rue, I wouldn't have been able to keep a serious
Do you think
face
she
of
started?
death.
Do you think she started laughing like right when they said action?
I
Or,
feel like I would have. I was like, you can't just
or
look
do you
at me.
think she just was used to Jennifer's antics and just laid there
She
like,
could
okay,
have
I'll
been-
remind you later.
She could have been used to Jennifer's antics at this point, because Jennifer and Rue, I know, from what I saw from the behind the scenes, looked like they had, like, a really tight-knit relationship as well.
That's good, because the characters did too.
Yeah.
I have another fun fact.
Okay, I'll go
This
on to
one's
mine
so
next.
crazy.
I already went over that.
Okay, you're not ready for this. This is gonna blow your mind, actually. Guess how much Woody Harrelson was paid for portraying Hunger Games in the first movie?
$5.
No,
Oh.
it's a lot more. Like, a lot more.
I don't know. How much?
$5 million.
What the heck? That's crazy.
And then, the franchise took off. So after that, he probably earned a lot more than that. But for the first one, he only made 5.
How much did everyone else make?
I don't know.
Oh.
I'm just scrolling through the questions.
You should look up how much they
Google.
made and then get back to me.
Okay.
So back to the tributes. Actually, the first time all the tributes met was whenever they were going to film the cornucopia scene. So whenever they all run into the they're all standing on those pillars, waiting for the countdown to jump out and like kill each other. That was the first time they all met each other. Was the day they were going to film that scene. So
like when they first came up.
So
at the cornucopia, that's the first time they met each other?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
When they were about to just go into a bloodbath and murder each other, that's the first time they met each other?
That was the first time the tributes met each other.
And they were like a family? Mm-hmm. They were like, oh yeah, I just killed you, but...
You're my best friend.
You're my best friend.
Yeah. I feel that about you sometimes.
Oh, yeah. You just killed me, but I'm your bestie?
Yeah.
Okay. You haven't killed me before, though, so I have a fun fact for you.
Okay.
And, you just asked me, and so look it up. I want you to guess how much she made, though.
Jennifer?
Yeah.
Was it higher or lower than Haymitch?
I'm not going to tell you.
$1 million.
No.
Higher or lower?
I'm not telling you.
This isn't a fun guessing game, then.
Okay, lower.
Lower than $1 million?
Yeah.
500,000.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I was right.
According to this first website that pops up, she only earned 500,000 for the first one. Now the accuracy for that is questionable.
But it kind of makes sense.
But it also says on like several different websites too that it was only 500,000.
But it kind of makes sense because she wasn't a big actress at the time. She was still kind of unknown. Remember Hunger Games coming out? Hunger Games kind of shot her career up.
Yeah.
So
Hunger Games introduced her.
Yeah, it makes sense that she was only paid that much. Alright, while you're looking up the next one, the next fun fact I have is a lot of the crowds they would do were CGI. So the crowds, whenever they're introducing they're getting introduced like on the carriages at the Capitol, and like Katniss and Peter are both on fire. It's kind of obvious that they're CGI, but those kind of crowds were CGI. Some of the CGIs with the reaping were also some of the crowds at the reaping were CGI as well. So they would have like a couple of people to make up some people, and then like the rest of the crowd would be CGI.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
Okay.
Do you have the next one?
I do.
For Josh or Liam?
For Josh.
Okay.
Guess.
100,000.
No, it's more.
500.
Yeah, you made 500,000 for the first film.
So as much as Jennifer.
As much as Jennifer. I do have another one for you though. According to Screen Rant,
okay,
Jennifer Lawrence was the highest paid in the end. Like she earned the most from Hunger Games, with the $50.5 million.
That's cool.
Fun fact: Jennifer and Josh are still buddies. Everyone.
Mm-hmm. They have a very brother and sister like relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Next, going back to like how the crowds were CGI, a lot of the buildings were also blue screen, especially like, so it would be like part of the building is blue screen.
Mm-hmm.
So like they would have like an actual building and then like the top half
for like
of it.
the Capitol.
Yeah, for the Capitol.
They did that with Ghostbusters too.
Yeah. I think also for the building at the reaping for District 12, like the top half of that building was also blue screen.
They do that for a lot of movies. Like because you don't find very many cities like that unless you're going to go and film in freaking New York, and New York doesn't fit the vibe of Hunger Games. Like, you're not going to fit in there.
No.
They do that for a lot of movies. They did that for Ghostbusters, and Ghostbusters wasn't even like, I mean, some of it was blue screen, some of it was also matte paintings, so they'd have the set or the building that they shot at outside, and then they would have a matte painting or blue screen, and they'd add more building.
Yeah.
Have the next one.
Josh? Or Liam?
Yeah, guess.
500.
Yeah, 500,000. They all earned 500,000
so
for the first one.
Woody earned $5 million. He wasn't a main character,
but he was also a more well-known actor.
That's true.
So
he was a very well-known actor.
He'd been in the business longer than they'd had, because the three of them were 18 to 21.
He was like 30 or 40 when this was filmed.
So he'd been doing movies for a long time. So it makes sense that he was paid more than them, even though they were the main characters and they had more screen time than him.
Right. Next fun fact. So a lot of the arrows, like the bow and arrow scenes that Jennifer had, didn't use real arrows. So she would have an actual bow in her hand, but she would like fake shoot an arrow. Like she would do the whole motion of bringing back, let it go.
Like not even
the arrow was like she would.
They didn't even give her like a stick. Nope. No stick, no arrow.
Nope.
That's interesting.
Yeah. Like
Didn't she learn how to do archery for this movie?
Yeah, there are some scenes where, at least in the behind the scenes, there were some scenes like where she did have an arrow, and then there was some scenes
was like a blunt on it.
Yeah. Jennifer can't whistle.
I did know that. I saw an interview.
Yeah.
Where the boys were teasing her and they were whistling. She was like, "I can't whistle. Stop it."
Yeah. And then the final fun fact I have, which I feel like this isn't as fun as the one to end off of, but here we are. Stanley Tucci, who plays
Caesar Flickerman.
Yep. Had to get his teeth whitened.
That makes so much sense now. I was wondering why his teeth were so white, and I thought, oh, just CGI.
Also,
they bleached his teeth.
They bleached his, I literally saw it in the CGI.
In the behind the scenes?
Yes. Where they had some sort of
they had the whitening strips.
Not even the whitening strips, a liquid thing
and then they stuck it in his mouth.
They painted over his teeth.
They painted his teeth?
Yes.
That's wild.
Wait,
crazy. Do you think his teeth are still that white then? Or was that just fancy paint?
I think it was just some sort of fancy paint that helped keep it dyed for a little bit.
Isn't that so crazy? You can paint people's teeth?
I don't know what it was.
That's wild. That's crazy.
And that is all the behind the scenes I have.
Tell me about, when does this movie come out?
2012.
What date?
It was March. I want to say March 20th. I don't know why that is in my brain, but it is. March 23rd. I was close.
You were really close. 3 days off.
March 23rd, 2012. And then all 4 other movies, I'm including Songbirds, came out in November. And did you say who composed?
I did not. Who composed it?
James Newton Howard and T-Bone Barrett, I think is what I wrote, composed the music for the Hunger Games. Next I have the box office. They did $695.2 million.
Domestic is $408,010,692. International is $286,384,032, combining to the worldwide $694,394,724.
Yeah. Ending off, I have awards. They were nominated for 49 awards, and they won 34. Which I thought
34 out of 49?
Yeah.
That's insane.
It's insane.
That's impressive.
It is very impressive.
I don't think I've ever seen a movie get nominated for so many awards and also win a majority of them.
Yeah. So some of the ones I have is they won a Saturn Award for Best Actress. They won an ASCAP Award.
That was for Jennifer Lawrence. She's the one that won, not the movie.
Sorry. So ASCAP Award, the top box office film, James Newton Howard. So I think with the music. The Critics' Choice Awards, Best Actress in an Action Movie, Jennifer Lawrence. They won a Grammy, Best Song Written for Visual Media. A Blimp Award, which won a Favorite Movie. The MTV Movie Award, Best Male and Female Performance. Male went to Josh Hutcherson, female went to Jennifer Lawrence. Best On-Screen Transformation, and a Best Fight Scene. The People's Choice Award, they won Favorite Movie, Favorite Action Movie, Favorite Face of Heroism, which went to Jennifer Lawrence, Favorite Movie Franchise, and Favorite On-Screen Chemistry between Jennifer and Josh. And then the Golden Trailer Award, they won Best Action Poster, Best Animation and Family Poster, Best Teaser Poster, Best Standard for Feature Film, Most Innovation Advertising for a Brand/Product.
They won the BAFTA for Best Feature Film in 2012, too.
Oh, my bad. I forgot that one.
Did you do Golden Globes?
I only did winners.
Okay. They were nominated in 2013. Taylor Swift, Best Original Song Motion Picture. They were also nominated in 2013 for Best Song Written for Visual Media for the Grammys.
2 different songs. So they're nominated for they won Safe and Sound, and they were nominated for Abraham's Daughter.
They were nominated for a Hugo Award in 2013 for Best Dramatic Presentation Long Form for Gary Ross, Suzanne Collins, and Billy Ray. Social impact of the film. Obviously, it was very successful.
I do have some stuff.
It went on to make 3 sequels, Catching Fire, Mockingjay Part 1, and Mockingjay Part 2. Suzanne Collins then wrote a prequel, Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, and that was also adapted into a film. We can talk about that one later, too. There was a video game made for it. I remember I had it on my phone at one point in middle school. There was a video game made for it. It was like I don't know how to describe it. It wasn't a tycoon game, but it was like a build your own fortress, and then you have your little avatar, and you get to go do silly little quests.
I love silly little quests.
I love silly little quests, so it was a fun game until it stopped working on my phone. I can't think of anything else right off the top of my head for social impact. But
the archery, a lot of people got into archery after the movie.
That's surreal because everyone wanted to be Katniss.
Yeah.
And
everyone would wear like side braids.
Yeah. So there you have it, folks. That's how the Hunger Games was made. Thank you all so much for listening. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, Unscripted. Follow on all social medias at unscripted.cs or unscriptedcs, depending on where you are looking. I do believe on X/Twitter, it is unscriptedcs. Everywhere else, it is unscripted.cs. Also, we have a Facebook.
There is a Facebook.
There is a Facebook. Go follow that. Please, go follow that. It's Unscripted Pod because they wouldn't let me do .cs. So,
they suck.
Thank you, Facebook, for that. Unscripted Pod on Facebook, unscripted.cs on everything except for Twitter. On Twitter, it's unscriptedcs. Go follow us on all of our social medias. I post lots of fun little shorts and pictures and fun facts and stuff on there, so go follow. Stay tuned on the YouTube channel. We are recording videos. I just need to edit them. They'll come out soon. I also post fun shorts on YouTube as well, so go check those out. And we will see you all in the next one.